This final lecture video in the Dry Etch TPT provides an overview of the dry etch equipment at DTU Nanolab. It explains how to select the appropriate instrument for different purposes with respect to the material to be etched, the wafer size, and the substrate material. At the top of this table is a list of all the dry etch equipment available at DTU Nanolab. We have 8 ICP systems, which are plasma systems for reactive ion etching, and 1 IBE, ion beam etch, which performs purely physical sputtering using argon ions. The purpose and type of the etchers at DTU Nanolab. In the purpose line, we inform you what we would like you to use this instrument for. By reading the purpose, you will most likely know which system to choose. The ASE. This is an ICP. It is now dedicated for etching samples with some amount of metal on, and for etching samples with sensitive backsides. Therefore it can etch both silicon, silicon oxide, silicon nitride and polymers. The AOE. This is an ICP designed for dielectric etching. It is used for dielectric etching of silicon oxide and silicon nitride for 4-inch wafers. Pegasus 1. This is a highly advanced ICP. This is for silicon etching only, and is our primary silicon etcher for 4-inch wafers. Pegasus 2. This is a tool dedicated for fluorocarbon-free etching of silicon-based materials. Pegasus 3. This is a highly advanced ICP. This is for silicon etching only, and is our primary silicon etcher for 6-inch wafers. It is very similar to Pegasus 1. Pegasus 4, this is our dielectric etcher for 6-inch wafers. The system is very similar to Pegasus 3, but has been upgraded with several gases in order to etch dielectrics, mainly silicon oxide and silicon nitride. ICP metal. This is an ICP. It is primarily for etching of metals that makes volatile products with the etching gases. It may also be used for etching oxides of the same metals, for example aluminum oxide, titanium oxide and chromium oxide. 3,5 ICP. This is an ICP. It is dedicated for 3,5 material substrates, especially for etching of 3,5 materials that form volatile products with the etching gases between 20 degrees and 180 degrees Celsius. Therefore, very suitable for indium phosphide etching, but also etching of other 3,5 materials. Etching of silicon oxide and silicon nitride on 3,5 substrates must be done here, as this is the only dry etcher dedicated for 3,5 materials. IBE. This is our ion beam etcher. It etches physically by bombarding the sample with positive argon ions. CHF3 can be added to bombard with more reactive ions. This might increase selectivity to the mask when etching silicon oxide. Allowed materials. The next thing to check is the list of allowed materials. Not all materials are permitted in all chambers, and this may limit which samples you can etch in the different systems. It is very important to ensure that your samples only contain materials that are allowed in the selected system. The ASE is the only plasma etcher where we allow most materials, but only up to 5% surface coverage of a 4-inch wafer. This corresponds to approximately 4 square centimeters. This may, for example, be gold or silver. This does not mean that you are allowed to etch gold in the chamber. It simply means that some gold may be present on your sample when etching, for example silicon. You may, for instance, etch down to a gold layer. 3,5 materials may only be processed in the 3,5 ICP. It is equally important to keep the 3,5 ICP clean from other materials. Therefore, no metals other than aluminium are allowed in the 3,5 ICP. The AOE and the Pegasus systems are intended for silicon-based etching. However, aluminium and, to some extent, chromium are allowed as masking materials in the AOE and Pegasus 4. Chromium may be allowed because it causes less redeposition than aluminium, and is therefore sometimes required for silicon dioxide etching. Please request approval before using chromium, as we aim to keep chromium contamination as low as possible. In the ICP metal system, silicon-based materials are allowed, along with metals that form volatile etch products. For chlorine-based chemistry, these metals are aluminium, chromium, and titanium. For fluorine-based chemistry, the allowed metals are tungsten, molybdenum, tantalum, and niobium. Etching oxides and nitrides of the mentioned metals are also allowed. In the IBE, almost any material can be introduced into the chamber and etched. Always check the cross-contamination sheets for the instrument before use. These can be found in Lab Manager. Clamping, substrate sizes, and temperature. In the table, you can also find information about the clamping method, the supported substrate sizes, and the temperature range of each system. Good wafer clamping is required for all dry etchers in order to enable helium backside cooling and to ensure stable temperature conditions throughout the etch process. This is especially important for ICP etching with resist masks. If the resist is not adequately cooled during etching, it will be affected, as explained earlier. Most ICP systems use electrostatic clamping. This provides very good clamping without covering any part of the wafer front side. The 3.5 ICP, however, uses mechanical clamping. This design was chosen because the high temperature range of the electrode does not work well with electrostatic clamping. Please note that the 3.5 ICP can be used at temperatures up to 180 degrees Celsius for etching indium-containing compounds. However, it cannot operate at temperatures lower than approximately 20 degrees Celsius. The IBE system also uses mechanical clamping. It is configured for 8-inch wafers, but offers different carriers for 6-inch, 4-inch, and 2-inch wafers. These carriers allow proper cooling of the wafers. It is important to check the electrode size of the system before processing. You can never process a wafer that is larger than the electrode. Smaller samples can be bonded to a wafer carrier of the appropriate size. However, this may result in poor heat transfer. Processing samples with sensitive backsides that cannot be clamped is challenging in ICP systems. This is due to the significant heating caused by the dense plasma generated by the coil power. This challenge can be addressed by developing recipes that rely only on platen power. In this case, the process becomes more RIE-like. Another option is to operate with very low coil power. Overview of gases connected to the systems. Here is an overview of the gases connected to the different systems. The ASE system was originally intended for etching silicon using the Bosch process. However, it now also includes gases for silicon dioxide etching and silicon nitride etching. The AOE system includes fluorocarbons for silicon dioxide etching. SF6 is used for etching silicon masking layers, which are used to mask the silicon dioxide. Helium is used to dilute the process gas in order to decrease the residence time. This helps improve the selectivity between silicon dioxide and a resist mask. Hydrogen can be used to increase the polymerization in the fluorocarbon plasma, while oxygen can be used to decrease the polymerization. The Pegasus 1 system has gases dedicated to silicon etching. In particular, it is used for the Bosch process, although continuous etching processes are also performed on this system. The Pegasus 2 system is a fluorocarbon-free system. It mainly uses sulfur hexafluoride for etching and oxygen for passivation. The Pegasus 3 system also has gases dedicated to silicon etching. In particular, it is used for the Bosch process, but continuous processes are also performed on this system. The Pegasus 4 system has gases intended for silicon oxide and silicon nitride etching. The ICP metal system has almost all of the available process gases installed. Almost any material that forms a volatile etch product can be etched in this system, with the exception of indium-containing materials, since the temperature cannot be increased to 180 degrees Celsius. The Bosch process does not perform well in this system, and process stability can be an issue when mixing chlorine-based and fluorine-based gases in the same chamber. For this reason, chlorine-based processes are preferred. 3,5 materials are not allowed in this system due to cross-contamination concerns. The 3,5 ICP system has almost the same gases as the ICP metal system, but it is primarily dedicated to etching 3,5 materials. We aim to separate the 3,5 materials process line from the silicon-based process line. No metals other than aluminium are allowed in this system due to the risk of cross-contamination. The IBE system is equipped with argon, CHF3, and oxygen. Argon is primarily used for sputtering. CHF3 can be useful for sputter etching of silicon dioxide. Oxygen can be used for removing polymer residues from the sample. Endpoint detection. Several etchers are equipped with endpoint detection systems. The optical endpoint system, also called OES, analyzes the light spectrum from the plasma. From this analysis, changes in the plasma chemistry can be observed. This can sometimes be used to identify an endpoint when etching through one layer into another. Several of the ICP systems are equipped with an OES system. The laser endpoint system sends light onto the surface of the sample and detects the reflected light. For example, when an oxide layer is present on an absorbing material, interference occurs between the light reflected from the surface of the sample and the light reflected from the interface between the oxide and the absorbing material. The intensity of this interference signal changes as the oxide layer becomes thinner. Only the 3,5 ICP is equipped with a laser endpoint system. This is very useful when etching through multiple layers of 3,5 materials. The SIMS endpoint detector is a mass spectrometer that analyzes the mass of atoms leaving the surface during etching. This type of system does not function well in an atmosphere containing reactive species. For this reason, it is only installed on the ion beam etcher. The equipment overview can be found in Lab Advisor. From the front page, choose Etch. Then choose Dry Etch page, General Processing and Hardware Comparison/Manuals. And select Hardware Comparison. Then you get to the Dry Etch Equipment Overview page. This page has more details than the one in this video, and it is most likely also more updated. Please take a look here when you have to select a dry etch tool for your project. Now the lecture is done. The next thing is to do the quiz. You find the quiz in DTU Learn. After that we have the question and evaluation session, the Q&E. And we finish the course with a hands-on training at the dry etch equipment. Please remember that the hands-on training requires that you have watched all the hands-on screencast videos before the training. The time for the hands-on training is settled at the Q&E session. Please sign up for the Q&E session in DTU Learn. Thank you for your attention.